Okay, greetings. Okay, we got the Super Bowl coming up, so a bunch of grown people chasing a ball. Evolution of humanity is, yeah, not looking so great there. More power to you on that one. So yeah, we're kind of going backwards. We're not going anywhere for that matter, at least on a massive scale. But whatever works for them. That's probably ignorance is bliss. There's no doubt about that. So Earth lost in space. It's got to do what it's got to do, right? So at least the society here is obviously not into the evolution of the astral realms and the other places. And of course, even the spiritual community has a lot of ego it has to heal, a lot of arrogance there too. So it's not grass is not always greener there either. So yeah, especially the alien religions are just out of control right now. And apparently YouTube seems to be okay with it. Okay, enjoy your prison. So you can get to the Earth lost in space frequency, basically of like where Earth planet is right now, whatever we can tap into. Its slowness. It's stuck. What's new? Not that that's a bad thing. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Just others that want to evolve, please do. But you're probably going to be assisting this world in some form or another. It's good to come into your power. There's no doubt about that. It just gets very lonely because you can't really share it with the rest of the world. Because especially other spiritual people, that can be very egotistical, arrogant, touchy-feely, and so on. So yeah, the grass is not greener. That's for sure. Probably ignorance is bliss is probably the place to be actually. What's your favorite football team? Who are you dating? What kind of job you have? Just like keep it in that little circle, and you can complain about all of that, but that's a fishbowl that's pretty manageable. You go to the astral realms and timeline wars, and spiritual people want to be gods here. You want to be worshipped. It's like, oh my god, great. Yeah, and yeah, I'd be surprised how many are being worshipped right now. I'm not going to name names, but it's kind of spooky. And also, the Men in Black. Haven't challenged them in ages. So I've been doing the AI art. I I was going to do that a lot on the thumbnails. Some of that stuff's weird, but it's like, you know what? I'm running out of thumbnail ideas, so I'm trying to have some fun with it too. There's that. So yeah, Men in Black frequency, just they're not exactly the most loved beings, but you're looking for perspective. You can get it from them because they're the ones that keep everything kind of. It's funny. It is kind of a synchronicity. It did come up again, so apparently they need to make themselves known here. So that's good. Yeah, I didn't realize that they were brought up earlier today, actually. So, okay. Priscilla's here running around. Simons.com, our private sessions. Schedule. We have a shop here. All right, thank you for your support. Keep it simple. Okay. All right. So going down to the rabbit hole. Super Bowl energies are coming, but that's not what we're going into. So just the Earth consciousness can be Mother Earth, possibly just Earth consciousness in general. The lost in space, or just where the planet is at moment of its evolution, and what is a perspective, and then Men in Black energy. So, all right, the blessings here go. Greece is the Earth higher consciousness. Of course, it's up to the human to heal the ego. The ego is one of the more vicious frequencies. That's well, it also keeps you in your comfort zone. As you can see, those of you going to spirituality, you go outside your comfort zone, which is good. You experiment with the higher dimensions, astral realms, all just. Nothing wrong with experimenting, but not everybody's ready for it. And of course, the mind control here on this planet is only a certain way of thinking and what people are used to. And there's nothing wrong with breaking that form. And you're basically like breaking through this barrier, this reality, by going through your spiritual development, just looking at things differently, not to judge. I mean, you might judge a little bit, maybe because you're kind of just tired of the propaganda here, and it's a lot. Maybe it's more like a kinder judge. It depends. Everyone's different, but the mind control here is just basically the architecture of how human evolution. You see in the television show, it's like the blueprint of how humans should be, act, and going outside of that is really the way to go. Of course, we try to get a job or try to function in society becomes things more difficult. So you have to do things, on your own, creatively, you could say. So you can still function here, but still, that's why many people color their hair or a tattoo, just to show that you're on the edge. You're not part of this reality. Not to say that those that without tattoos are, it's not for everybody, but everyone has their own way of showing they're breaking through this realm, this mind control that's here on the earth. And of course, why so many humans take on the blueprint of the human is because it's easier. It's like the recipe. It's like you're making a drink at a bar or food. I would just say you're making a drink at a bar. You want it to taste like everything else. So humans are pretty much like usually very similar in a lot of ways. Not everything, but there's still like the architecture is pretty similar overall, but obviously many of you out there do things a lot differently, which is good. It's just, where do you fit into the puzzle then? Now you're outside of it, but it does, there's ups and downs to everything. You want to be part of society that is calling itself normal. And well, that's where they are in their evolution. There's nothing wrong with that, but breaking through it is, a lot more. It can be fun, but it's good to be experimental. Let's put it that way. So we see much of this evolution of change in the future. Basically, it can still be normal as they call it, but alter it more often. Graffiti artists do it to a certain level, like they do it in their art, but in their everyday life, they're like everybody else. But some of you do break free altogether, and a lot of you are kind of loners too, because you have no choice. Because you just can't connect to the frequency because you're at a different frequency in society. How can you attract other people like yourself when there's hardly anyone like you? They might be across the part of the world, and that's where they're needed. So they can't. It doesn't mean you're always going to attract them to your, to your front door. So, but you are putting that frequency out of being different, and it echoes out throughout society. Eventually, those, when humans are ready, it might be 4 or 5 years, 10 years, or 5 lifetimes from now when they're ready to evolve outside of the normalcy of society. And of course, you see your politicians falling apart mentally. And that just shows a breakdown of society also. Well, it is a good thing as for a reset eventually. But the world's not quite ready for that yet. There's also timelines where presidency doesn't exist anymore. What's the point of it? Obviously, it's just a figurehead anyway for the most part. There's always different type of shadow groups that are behind the scenes. They're always going to do whatever they feel like and just have somebody to blame. So, and that's where so many are tapped into that frequency. And hard to basically, politicians is like it's like acting basically. It's a lot of similarities to it. It's just you're acting on a more live stage than a theater. We're on the live, the live theater. So, they call it professionalism, but it's really just, you're playing a role, as many of you know. And the political frequencies, it's going to not break down completely, but some of these figureheads, the king situation, not yet. Too many people need that, but there are certain groups that can fall apart eventually. So, but you do need something different. But as for the evolution of humanity, where is the Earth today? Yes, lost in space. There's a lot of feminine frequencies living within the Earth, of course, still being healed. There's a lot of controlling feminine energies, as some of you know. The masculine kind of plays stupid sometimes to outsmart the feminine to heal it. Because the feminine can be very controlling, as you can see, as some of you noticed, and very vicious. Some of that comes from Venus. There's other realms too, but they feel like they can dominate this earth. Of course, the male, like it, a lot of ways, dumbs itself down just to handle the narcissism of the more darker feminine frequencies that's here. It has its reasons. Like it just like we do the right thing, but we have to act stupid. Not that we are stupid, we have to act stupid. For the narcissistic feminine frequency that tries to dominate everything. And Mother Earth is here to balance that, but it's not easy. Mother Earth has a balanced frequency. Obviously, many that incarnated here are not balanced because they want to control others, control society, realities, control this matrix, and so on. Not all feminines, but there are many, some that are very powerful. Of course, there are masculines that are also here to do it too. But the masculine here, I mean, it has a feminine, well, they have masculine mixed in with feminine, and that can sometimes be just as lethal. But a lot of the masculine here wants to sometimes share the wealth with others, but yeah, just to have the ego, just want to be praised to some level, look like powerful. But the feminine, a lot of the dark feminine is here just to dominate, truly dominate, and just even suck the soul out of reality. So that's what you're dealing with currently. So yeah, you might have male politicians that are kind of, doing the best they can to manage Earth's frequency. But sometimes you can't always have the smarts. I mean, you do, but more you just have to be a stronger frequency to handle the weaponization of the frequencies that's here. The frequency here can be very draining mentally, as some of you notice. So can you handle it energetically? Let's put it that way. Well, it's like a storm in the skies and all the lightning frequencies. There's just a lot of frequencies here you don't see. So just giving you some points of view of what's happening currently. Of course, obviously can't make everyone happy. That's just the way it is. Green suit, the man in black. Blessings. Yes, we are here, there, everywhere. Yes, an agent N. There's other agents here too, but of course, yes, we do work in the astral. We can't appear in the physical. It's not likely we need to be here in the. I mean, we can if we absolutely necessary. But of course, there's more cameras around. But of course, we can close that out. We can clear that frequency out. And there's less sightings of us physically for various different reasons. This more we see astrals becoming more sophisticated as we're shot. Well, basically, also governments are getting a little bit more like the men in black energy is connected to governments also to keep things kind of shut down for the most part. I can't shut everything down, but for the most part, just to cover things up. So more like your shadow government or your men in black energy is more part of your shadow, always part of your shadow government. It's being more integrated within the government, especially the U.S. Sometimes Russia. But most of the U.S. The U.S. is doing a lot of experimentation, as you can see, and still is. Things they probably should not be doing. Of course, you're not going to see it here physically. Well, they're working on the future. A lot of it's the projects the government's working really on just more personal, like more just government entity energies. Time travel, they do alter that. They try to alter timelines all the time. So if you're wondering what the shadow government's mostly doing, it's most of that. Of course, you have human trafficking here and there. But I mean, that's an issue, yes, but time traveling, time altering is probably more damaging. It can cause weather anomalies. It can cause even your news cycles are altered by time travel altering energies. So obviously, you're not going to see it here physically. Well, you can. It's not the easiest because, like turning a page, it's just like a bleep in your reality. It's not going to exactly make itself that well known. So those that are working on this, CERN is involved, but there's other regions that are underground. Some of them are in China. They're all across the world, actually. It's just basically just to, well, the time travel or energy is just basically to control your reality, to create, certain timelines, to control more society for growth. Of course, the astral realms are involved much of that too. But the timeline wars, you can say, are increasing due to the rituals that are going on this Sunday and after. So it's just basically, it's like why you have all this propaganda. It's just basically kind of get the attention of the population, like the Taylor Swift. So look at Taylor Swift. Even if they like it or not, it doesn't matter. It's on the mind. And why basically as the astral realms that are manipulating society work behind the scenes. So it's just not that people really notice what's happening here behind the scenes, but it just gets the mind looking somewhere. If you have enough, individuals looking at the Super Bowl, Taylor Swift, it's harder to see what's happening here. Like if more people are looking, through the, read between the lines. If you had that, you would actually see it more. To see what society, what governments are hiding, because they can't hide it because the energy is directed towards that. So it gives you kind of an idea of why this propaganda is occurring. And realize it's not. It's like all of a sudden you just know things because society is looking at things different. Right now, society usually is pretty gullible, and it's lazy, it's gullible, and it's most of it, and it doesn't see anything wrong with being pulled into these propaganda ways. It's kind of like a sheep mentality. Well, that's what we're telling us. Maybe they can somehow snap out of it. Maybe one or two to snap out of it. The rest are just going to just call it stupid. But that's really how it works. It's like you just, of course, most of society is not tapped into their spiritual energy. Oh, it's us. You'd be surprised. They don't believe it. Let's put it that way. So it's kind of like looking between the blinds. Like you have the blinds, you're like looking out the blinds. It's kind of like that. It's like the blinds are just closing, the outside, what's happening here, and you're looking, once again, between timelines. But like I say, society is not looking for it. But some of you can sometimes tap into what's occurring. It's not the easiest thing to tap into. You have some kind of vibe of where the world's going, and maybe not 100% what's happening, but some kind of sense. So just kind of giving you an idea of what you're sensing for the future. Of course, you're always going to see personal or possible timelines. But sometimes you might connect to a timeline that you feel is happening, but there's no way to prove it. But society is not interested in tapping into it. So there's a lot of, as you can see, a lot of distractions for obvious reasons. So even conspiracy theory distractions, because it's just, well, because they feel like they're getting to the secret knowledge and they really aren't. It's just another way to get your mind off of what's happening here.